Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here after market close on Thursday, December 2nd, we're going to take a look at SoFi. So SoFi on the intraday first. Then we'll flip over to the daily. We'll take a look at unusual whales. We'll call it a video. So on the intraday, good thing we put in this 1596 support level yesterday or the day before, whenever it was recently, because we hit exactly that this morning, bounced up, and then, nice double bottom here at about $16. So nice psychological bounce. Reclaim on the VWAP and then just stick it to the VWAP basically through close, right? This isn't that far extended above the VWAP. If we pull in the EMAs here, it's just a matter of winding up the EMAs, then unwinding them and having a nice lift off of the 12 EMA. So good movements, not extended in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. So yes, it went into close relatively strong, but it wasn't a real beast in the close, in my opinion. It was still just relatively tight in to the VWAP, and but that's not a bad thing. So good to have even a slightly green day in the face of the days we've been having. Now, what I really want to look at from a chart perspective is the formation of this candle today. Now, this is a fairly hammerish looking candle. Now, the body of this isn't situated on the exact top, but the wick is pretty small on the top end. It's a green candle. It's potentially, I don't know, but it's potentially at the bottom of a recent downtrend. At the moment, it's at the bottom. I don't know if it will prove out to be a bottom in a month from now, but so a couple of interesting factors to me. One, it's catching support right on the 1596 and bounced strongly off of it. And where did it bounce? It bounced the body of the candle back, just like hugging this long-term uptrend support that we put in here, right? It stretches back to the $13 days. And also it has formed in a pretty pretty hammerish formation of a candle. So to me, this could have some of the earmarkings of floor. I don't know, but time will tell. These are just sort of tea leaves that we try to read and make sense of, but it's all a speculative game, right? You just try to give yourself a better than chance opportunity to try to decipher what's happening and make intelligent decisions for positioning and whatnot based on that. So I'm interested to see what happens tomorrow. Was there something to this, or is this just sort of like a fluke in an otherwise kind of sad tale of retracing once again down to this level? But the other thing is, at this point, since this consolidation point here, this has done now 100% full retracement, which, if you look back here, for example, if you look here, for example, SoFi has a strong history of, in the midst of movements, these 100% retracements, right? It even had one here, 100% retracement, right? And when we started to see this kind of situation, that's when that became slightly different, right? A strong retracement, but not 100%. A strong retracement, but not 100%. And then it came down 100%, and then it was liftoff, and then it was 100%, and then it was consolidates and liftoff, and then it was 100% liftoff. So I'm hoping now that, in the sort of concentric circles or Russian dolls that these patterns are, that this outer retracement is done. And maybe this will give us an opportunity, plus the other factors that I just mentioned, to reverse this downtrend. Now, the other thing I want to mention before we go into the data, and I'm not going to belabor this or get too deep into it, but I know a lot of folks have been bent out of shape with some of the insider selling that's been happening lately. And sure, that's the case, but as I've talked about previously, this is money that these folks are potentially counting on, potentially very happy to have, pay for college, buy a house, who knows what. And a lot of them recently that I've seen, and you can probably find better more in-depth information on this, but a lot of them appear to me as though the person is selling to basically cover the taxes for the options that they've exercised. So, and I'm not talking about options like in the open market. I'm talking about when you join a startup and you're granted options and then you exercise those options, and then you have to pay taxes. And then when you realize some of those gains or those gains period, you have to pay taxes on that as well. So this appears to me as though several of these are in that realm of they are holding a bunch and they're selling a portion to cover taxes. If somebody's much more skilled and experienced and sophisticated with these things, feel free to chime in in the comments below, and if I catch it, I'll do my best to pin it to give folks some info. But I just wanted to touch on that for a moment. I don't get super bent out of shape about the insider selling because it's a byproduct of this stock and the life cycle, the stage that it's in its life, right? Of course, there's going to be insider selling, and of course, there's going to be people who are trying to cash in on things that they've potentially worked several years under pretty dicey circumstances, right? You never know when you're granted those options at a startup if they're going to be worth anything. Usually, they're not. So I don't hold that against anyone. All right, soapbox done. Now, intraday analysis for SoFi. So the biggest trades of the day, leaning slightly bearish. And none of these are like whoppers of trades, right? I mean, there's a few here in the, over 100K and this one at 200K. But, we're not seeing any in the, high 100Ks or millions. So to me, there's not a ton to like put a bunch of weight into at the moment. In my opinion, a bunch of these are parts of multi-leg strategies. And so, there could just be more complex sort of hedging, options variability trades that are happening in here that don't necessarily read as clearly as this was a bearish trade, this was a bullish trade. Of course it could be, but, I just want to say, to me, I would take something like we see today with the relative grain of salt. On the other side of things, fitting my filter criteria, there was one trade that came through today bearish, which, like, as I'm trying to look for some bull signals to see, because now, I have the opportunity to start buying in again because I'm sort of like at my break-even points or maybe even slightly below. And so I'm looking to potentially add here in the very near future. So it's going to be a bit of a timing game, but I'm not super worried if I don't catch the exact bottom. That's fine. But I did see this $15 put for 12.31, and not a huge trade. 41K in premium in the vast scheme is not that big of a deal. But this is the first one to come through in a few days. It's been pretty spotty since this activity was really around earnings when it picked up volume wise. But again, this is just the criteria that I've set in the filters and what meets that criteria. So this is not in any way, shape, or form all the trades that came through. Obviously, that's why you see other trades on the largest options trades. But bull premium at the moment outpacing bear premium. So there's that. But I do think that the chart has the potential, is showing signs of potential for, I don't know if reversal or stabilization, but the makings are, the potential is there. I'm always reluctant to get too certain on these things because people take what you say very seriously sometimes. So just I try to say this all the time. I'm not going to predict these things for you. I'm talking about signs and symbols and whatnot. But anyway, I'm going to keep a strong eye on this. Obviously, we cover this every day, just about. But when I take a new entry, whether that's an options contract or common shares, I'll let you know, as I always have, and we'll go from there. But I have the hope at the moment that we have a hammer, we have support, and we have support, and it could be something in the making. Nothing else is near on the daily anyway. All right, folks. I hope that your trading week is going well and that you're able to finish it off strong tomorrow, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.